Well, thanks for making the journey over here,
Hey,
Tyler.
thanks. It was a long one. Man, whew. Made it though.
2 blocks? You're pretty lazy. I can't believe you drive to work every day.
No joke. I should, golly. The traffic's terrible. And then between here and there, Jesse was in my way, and it took forever to get around him. Stinking Jesse.
Life in a small town. You just get really mad when you just hit one stoplight. You're like, God,
Joke. My gosh, yeah.
what's happening to my
I used
life?
to have the office in our building where we live,
right.
down on the first floor. So it used to be a commute right down the
Yeah, for
stairs to
years.
the
So,
office.
you-
Yeah, for several years. Yep.
You hadn't driven for how many years, probably?
I know,
to a
quite a while.
location.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Yeah.
That is crazy.
Several years. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's up, guys? I'm Samuel McVeigh with the Killer Growth Podcast. And today my guest is the Killer Growth Podcast producer,
What's up?
Tyler Norris,
Hey, guys.
Chief Operating Officer.
Does that
of
work?
Killer
Yeah, I was thinking
Growth.
about it the other day.
Yeah.
Operating officer,
Yeah,
like
I didn't write
strategy is
that
kind of
down.
cool too. I was
Yeah,
like, I don't
well, I
know.
like
I ran
that.
across that one the other day. Strategy
Growth
officer.
Strategy,
I don't know.
Chief
We could make all
Strategy
sorts of
Officer,
letters
CSO.
and things.
CSO,
CSGOWXYZ.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a TV show. CSO.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, you can be whatever you want to be.
Hey,
At
thanks.
the end
That's
of the
awfully
day.
nice of you. Yeah.
I don't like putting a label on things. I'm going to stop there. That's a rabbit hole.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, this is fun. This
Fun
has
to
been
be on
fun.
the other side of it.
It is.
has
This is
been fun.
interesting. Yeah, 20 episodes in. I'll be 21. We're officially
crazy.
legal after today. 21.
21.
Yeah, this is-
Yep. So some different beverages
Different,
than
yeah.
Form Energy are going to be on the podcast. soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, Brad. Thanks for the sign.
Yeah.
Demo
Thank you. This is
Sales,
awesome, man.
was on the podcast. Great guest, and has been furnishing us with some great drinks from Form Energy.
Yeah.
And
I'm not usually an energy drink guy, but those are good. They're
good.
dangerously
yeah,
good.
I'm rocking the grape today. He loaded us up with a grape.
Nice. You like
And
it? Is that a
I
good one?
do like it.
Yeah, that would be good. I'll have to try that one next.
I just don't understand how it doesn't taste like an energy drink. It does.
Yeah,
kind of
it
tastes
doesn't
like
taste like.
juice.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
Tastes more
dangerous
like
part.
juice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, how is there 200 milligrams in
Yeah,
here?
I don't know. Ah, they're good though.
Yeah, and it says 0% juice.
Yeah.
So what does
How are
that
they
mean?
doing that?
Brad, we have questions. But yeah, appreciate them.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Here we go. You know the drill. Do I even need to ask
I
the
don't
first
think
question?
you do. Close off and oh no, wait, not
Yeah,
that. Okay,
no,
wait.
no,
Okay, no.
That's
okay,
Killer Growth After Dark.
Oh, right. That's right.
It's a different podcast we haven't released yet.
I do. Yeah. Start
So let's hear
at
the story
beginning.
from the beginning,
Yeah,
wherever
the
you want to
beginning,
start, all
yeah.
the way to you here today.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So it's a good question. I guess back in high school, went to El Dorado, graduated in 2000. People always talk about their college experience, right? When they went to college. I did do college, which was a little surprising. I didn't like school very much. I just didn't like, and I had a good experience with school and had good friends and all of that stuff. But like, I didn't want to be there. I always wanted to do I wanted to build something. I always wanted to build things. And I just grew up around that environment. I think like my dad was always, he owned his own business. Both of my grandfathers owned their own business. And so I was just
both
around
sides.
that. Both sides. Yeah, did. And so I just grew up around that. And I saw them building things and I wanted to build things instead of helping somebody else manage something they built. So even back then I saw that and I felt like being stuck in high school, you learn good things and I see that now, but it was hard to want to be stuck inside those confines when I knew that wasn't going to probably benefit me a ton going forward in life. And I can appreciate that more now, but it was tough back then.
Yeah.
And so out of high school, going to college, it was tricky to also want to do that. But I knew I wanted an associate's degree because that seemed like a wise thing to have. And my parents wanted me to have that. And so I wanted to
So you
honor
did
that.
more than 6 hours, or sorry,
Yes. What was
2 out of 6 weeks.
Yes,
of Tyler Brickley's
the other
college.
Tyler. Yeah,
the other Tyler.
his
Also a
experience,
guest on
yeah.
here. He went to college for 6 weeks, but only attended 2 of those 6
Yes.
weeks.
Which when you know Tyler Brickley, it's like, oh, that
It adds
checks
up.
out. Yeah. Yes. I went over the course of 3 years because I was busy doing other things in the midst of it, but started out going down a networking path, like doing networking. Because IT stuff.
not
Yeah. Because I
social
was like, I don't
networking.
think this is going to go away anytime soon. This seems like a pretty solid career path if I do this. But yeah, my first class like around that was routers, and not like the little ones in your house, but like the big ones that are in data centers. And I don't know if it's still the case today, but back then you entered it all by text. Like you configured them all with text. And a few weeks of that, and I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I've made a bad decision. What am I doing with my life? But in that class, I met somebody else who also liked to build things, and he ended up being my first business partner. His name was Andrew McLeod, super sharp guy. Met him there, and we both started talking about just our desire for business and a desire to build something, and talking about websites. And that, again, didn't seem like it was going to go away anytime soon, and there was a demand for that. So he and I started kicking around the idea of doing a business around doing websites for clients and for companies.
And what year was this?
This would have been 2000, fall of 2000.
Yeah,
when we
so
started doing
building
that.
websites then was
it was still
different than it is
very
today.
different, still a very new thing, and a lot of people were still skeptical of the internet, obviously with the bubble and everything. And but yeah, we felt like there was something there. So at the end of 2000 into 2001, he went back to DC because his mom and stepdad lived in Virginia out there around the DC area. But we stayed connected, kept talking about it. And then I was trying to think of the order of events, but at one point in 2001, early on, I think he gave me a call and said, "Hey, I've got a client who wants a website. Do you want to go ahead and try to do this thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens." And that's kind of what kicked it all off. I was trying to remember which client was the original one. I know that there was one early on that started it that was for a housing, like a gated housing community. And this wasn't like a small one, but like celebrities had homes in this.
Yeah, I remember you showing me. I think you were like looking that up one time when you were talking to me about it.
Yeah. I was trying to remember like how far back that was. It's all, 25 years ago. It's all so muddy in my mind. But I remember that was one of the first ones, and his mom had a house in this housing community. So that's how he made the connection, I think, and got into it. But yeah, that job, it was for a website we were going to do for them. It was for a Flash website. I don't even remember. You remember Flash, like Adobe Flash and all the cool, it had all the movement and everything. And that was such a big deal back then. And so we were going to build it in Flash. And I was trying to remember the number. I think that it was like the number that's been on my mind for years was $16,800 is what we quoted on this job. And we got it. This was one of the early ones.
Yeah,
and I mean,
it's 26 years ago.
Yeah, which was crazy. I mean, that's still a chunk for a website today, but that, especially back then, was a big number. Yeah. And I remember, I think that was the number, but the point of it was we were both like, oh, this could maybe work. This could maybe be a living, and we could maybe actually make this thing work. And so, yeah, we did for a while, I was trying, all of this is so muddy, but I think like for a good 3 years or so, we worked on websites together and building brands, and kind of had an agency and that sort of thing. And I got to travel out to the East Coast to work with some clients up and down the East Coast. And we ended up doing an office in Kansas City. Also, we had a couple sales guys in Kansas City at that office. I had a couple good friends down here who did graphic design and programming for us for a little while. And, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was trying to remember some stories from that. I remember one of them was probably the first time I went out east was later in 2001. And I was like a Midwestern kid, 18 years old. 19, I guess, at that time. And never traveled beyond like Denver, Colorado.
You were looking up the whole time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like, wow, what is this? I'd never met people that far out on the coast. And we got to go to Washington Redskins is who they were back then. Washington Redskins game with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Are we even allowed to say their old name
I know,
anymore?
that's what I'm like. I had to think about who they used to be.
I have to censor this episode now.
Yeah. The Red Redskins. I went to this game, spent the first quarter outside, super cold. But Drew knew somebody who got us into a box seat.
Oh, nice.
So we got to go spend the rest of the game with a box seat. After that, the same guy got us into this VIP after party at the stadium.
All right.
Which was, I was like 19. I'm sure the minimum age was 21, and Drew was probably 20. And like it was crazy, and it was so eye-opening. I mean, there was a ton of fans obviously there afterwards. Several of the players were there afterwards. I remember the cheerleaders like did a big intro thing with all the players coming in. I was like, what is this?
What is happening?
Yeah, and we didn't go home till like 1 or 2 in the morning, and it was just eyes were opened and like, my goodness, this
From
is
a town of 12,000 people.
I know, in El Dorado, Kansas, to doing stuff like this. It was a wild experience and an intimidating experience. Mm-hmm. Just a whole different world that I'd never been around before. And
how often did you go to the DC when you guys were business partners?
Usually every few months I would go out there. Yeah, I would fly out there and spend some time working with him. But yeah. Yeah, and then I remembered we won a Microsoft small business contest at one point in time. Drew was, and probably still is, was an amazing salesman and could spin and pitch things really well. And I still don't know what he said to get us into this contest, but we ended up winning this contest. It was like $100,000 of equipment and consulting from Microsoft. Like they came to our Kansas City office, filmed for the whole day.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, oh gosh, they think we're much bigger than what we actually are. I think
Right.
when we had a handful of employees, I know. I was like, what did he tell them to make this happen? And to
Who cares?
for us to win this? Yeah, no, we went there. Yeah. And I bet there's still a video floating around somewhere on the internet of that whole experience that because Microsoft put together the whole video to try to promote like their small business
program
suite and all the stuff they had. And yeah. But there was a lot of just wild experiences with that whole thing. But it eventually, I think it was in 2004, I got a call from Drew one evening and he said, hey, I've got somebody who's interested in buying the company. It's like, okay, cool. He's like, can you come out and meet them in a couple of days? Yeah, sure. I'll fly out there. And so I fly out, Drew and this other guy, which I won't say his name because it was not a good experience. I meet this guy and I just don't like him. I mean, he's a pretty prideful dude. And he pretty quickly tells that I don't like him. He doesn't like me. It's not good. I remember he had Nokia had
you're
released.
so mean.
I know. I'm such a horrible person.
Yeah.
I mean, you struggle with me most days. So I totally get it. But I remember Nokia had this phone at the time. There was no iPhone yet. Nokia had this weird wide phone that opened up and had like a keyboard. Anyway, super expensive phone that he was trying to show off. And I remember before even seeing it, I was like, this is kind of a stupid phone. I don't know why people have this thing. And I think it's just like a bragging thing. And that's exactly what it was for him. Just the whole experience was bad. The whole trip out there was not good. I did not like the dude at all. And over the next few months, it just didn't go well. But I did go out there a couple more times and I got to visit because this guy owned a hosting company. And so his thought was bring us in to be like a design web development arm for his hosting company, which would have added value. It'd be weird today to do that, but there was some value in it back then.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I got to go and actually be in data centers for the first time when this happened. And it was amazing.
Yeah,
and
those are
eye-opening.
like real new in 2004.
I mean, and they were blowing up
Yeah.
back then, and especially in Virginia. Virginia is still like the hub for a ton of data centers out in that area because of all the fiber they had installed back in the 90s, I think, that they were able to use. But anyway, it was eye-opening to go into these data centers. Like back then, Google and Amazon didn't necessarily have their own at that point. So you would walk through these data centers and they had cages is what they called them. And he had a cage in one of these where we had some servers that we probably got from that Microsoft small business makeover thing, most likely running in it. But you'd walk through and be like, okay, there's Amazon's cage. There's a ton of their servers. There's Google's cage. There's a bunch of their servers. It was just wild. And the HVAC, like for these place, you could drive cars through the ductwork. They were so huge up in the ceiling, just an absolutely mind-boggling experience. And it was like, I really wanted.
And this guy owned that.
He didn't own that. He had space leased in there,
Gotcha.
for his hosting company that he was running his servers off of.
I'm following you.
Yes, yeah. And here in a few minutes, it'll make more sense of why the data center part is fun. But it was eye-opening, and I was like, I really want to be a part or do something with one of these someday.
Yeah.
Anyway, fast forward several months, I ended up walking away from the deal. Just told Drew and this other guy, I was like, I'm not a good fit. This doesn't work. He was already driving a wedge between Drew and I. The guy was sharp, very, very sharp, and he knew exactly what he was doing. And so, I broke ties with Drew at that point. About probably 9 months later or so, I ended up getting an email or a phone call, one of the two, from Drew, and saying that he had cut ties with this guy. He was manipulating and doing a bunch of stuff, and it wasn't good. And he saw it, and Drew and I did a couple more projects after that. But I had always lived here, spent time out east, but I saw the need for good web development and design in this area also, because there wasn't a lot of it. There were definitely some marketing agencies overall, but I can't remember the name of the company. There was one web company in Wichita that had a reputation for being one of the only ones there, but also not great customer service, not good output. And at the time, I had two good friends here in El Dorado, Spencer Stewart, Garrett Clausen, who I'd done some ministry stuff. We were in a band, like everybody was in a band back then, did a band and I don't even remember what started it, but Spencer and I started talking about, well, we should do this here. And so the three of us started something here in '05.
And what was that called? Remind me.
PH Design House,
PH Design
which
House.
everybody was like, what's the PH stand for? Worst decision ever, naming the company that, because the PH stood for Pro Hosters, which was the name of the hosting company that our original company, which was called Pigeon Internet, delivering your message.
Gotcha.
It was bought out. And so I was thinking at the time if it was going to be Pro Hosters Design House, PH Design House under that thing. Out east, when that didn't happen,
Gotcha.
we just all thought the name was cool sounding, which was terrible because everybody asked what and you had to always give that whole backstory of what the PH stood for.
Right.
So called it PH Design House. Did that for probably a year or year and a half, and we're getting some good traction. Like we had a great employee, Steven Jenner. I think he's still in the area, who was a 3D guy, really talented 3D artist, and we were starting to integrate that in with some motion graphics stuff. And the web was getting to the point where people were having cable connections, and you could throw more on the internet, right? It didn't have to just be a static image. You could have some cool graphics and videos and stuff on the internet back then. So we were starting to get some traction with that, like notability and notoriety, I guess, in the Wichita area. And we were starting to gain some momentum when I got a phone call. And I just told you about this the other day. Yeah. When I got a phone call one evening, I remember sitting in our office above Jacob's Well. We had an office in downtown El Dorado. And Chris Wipa called me. And a lot of people know Chris. He's Mortgage Punk over in Wichita. Great guy. He was living out in Denver at the time. And he called and said, dude, my computer's hard drive just crashed. I lost all of my files. You're in tech. Is there something? Why isn't there something where I can back all my stuff up online? This should be a thing. Why isn't
like
this
personal
a thing?
Documents?
Yeah. Somewhere you can just put it all online. So if that happens, that you're okay. You don't have to worry about losing everything. And I was like, it's a great question. I don't think much exists out there. And it didn't back then. This would have been 05,
there wasn't
I think.
Dropbox.
Wasn't Dropbox, Box.net, Google Drive. No, Google Drive was several years away from happening at that point, I think. Yeah. And like Dropbox might have been in its genesis, like really early phases, but not publicly known at all. And so I remember sitting there that night because PH Design House was doing well. And I was like, do I tell Garrett and Spencer? Because they're going to grab onto this and be like, here's something we can pursue.
Right.
Because everybody, even back then, people wanted to do, it wasn't called SaaS. There was no SaaS word, I think, back then. It was just people wanted to do some type of a service like that. And we'd always talked about it. We'd always talked about doing a data center. And there was the opportunity. And so the next day I told them. And that led us down a rabbit hole for a year and a half of planning an underground data center located in West El Dorado, Kansas. And we went after it. We got after it. I mean, we went.
Iron Blue
Corporation was the name. Yep.
Is Jesse still in here? Should we have him come do the commercial?
Oh man, that was PH Design House.
Oh, that was
the
PH.
difference is quality. Yeah,
He like whispers it. My little brother.
The
difference is quality.
On a little thing we did. Oh, I forgot about that. That's
right
great.
above Jacob's Well.
Yeah,
right?
it was. Yep. So yeah, we went full bore. We did a friends and family round of fundraising. I don't raise probably $100,000. Hired Gravity Works Architecture here in town. Got all of the engineers together. They helped us do that. It was wild. I remember one of the most intimidating meetings I've ever sat in on, or really ran, was one with all of these different engineers in a room. Like way smart. I was by far the dumbest person in the room. And I was there to tell them the different tasks that we needed them to do to help put all this information together. Because we were just planning a business plan because here's the mistake that we made at the end of the day. We should have, like all the others, just leased some server space, written some code, got something out there.
Built the software first.
Yeah, started to build it.
Done.
But what we thought at the time, this was such a new concept, is that people weren't going to trust the software if they didn't know where their data was being kept. Which you could argue makes some sense. Yeah, so you need to have the full stack, full control of it. So you got to build the data center where this stuff is stored so they know, your end user, your customers know that it's all secure. Doesn't really matter. People didn't
Then comes AWS, who does the opposite, right? Essentially.
Yeah, essentially.
They build it and then lease it.
Right, exactly. And at the end of the day, somebody can hack into something from anywhere in the world. The physical location really didn't matter that much to people. And that's the big mistake we made. We just, our reach far exceeded our grasp. We went after it and we built out, it was a legit full business plan. The margins were fantastic. I mean, it all made sense. There wasn't a co-location was another big thing, and still is probably in data centers where, like I said, cages, you can bring your servers in, put them there. There was no good place to do that here in the Midwest at all at that point. The Internet Exchange Point going into Wichita, there was nothing like that. We wanted to be carrier neutral where we could kind of have our own IXP in this data center where any carrier could come in and interconnect with one another. Like we had a lot of vision for it and spent a lot of time on it. Even had a couple of angels who were pretty interested in the concept, but two things happened. One, we wrapped up this business plan in 2008, which is when everything went down the pooper. You know, it was bad in 2008. So any kind of money that might have been there was not interested really. And then the second half which just is funny to say in this world today where data centers are multi-billion-dollar builds, but this thing grew to over $50 million to do. I mean, imagine that, an underground data center in El Dorado. It's going to be an expensive endeavor.
And why underground?
Tornadoes. We were trying to mitigate the one risk. We didn't have earthquakes at that point. So we were trying to mitigate the one risk that a tornado could just run over this thing and everything would be fine. Nothing would affect it. Nothing would happen. So yeah, between those two things, it just didn't work. We had to shut it down. We had to walk away from it. And that was a hard thing to do. That was that. I mean, especially when it's friends and family, and it was all non-recourse. And so they understood, but we also told them all, we want to help repay this if we can. And so we, some just forgave it. Some we tried to repay, some we exchanged services for work, because we ended up starting up another agency again called Resurgent Media.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. That was the one.
That was the one. Yep. And did that for probably another year and a half. And at that point, Spencer was really big into ministry stuff. He was just tired and wanted to pursue ministry stuff full time. And he just got his doctorate. He's doing great. Garrett was just tired of entrepreneurship and not knowing where your next paycheck was coming from, and totally got that. And he went on to LSI, which was bought out by NetApp, and he's doing great over at NetApp now as a support account manager over there for NVIDIA. So he's doing great. And so that left me at the end of the day, little old me, all by myself. Like, well, what am I going to do with my life now? So I freelanced for a little while and then became the creative director at New Manna for about a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. And that was a fun job. Really loved everybody I worked with there. Rick McNary, who was the CEO, he treated me almost like a partner, where he would bring me in on meetings because he knew I loved that kind of stuff. You know, it was that same thing, wanted to build something and not maintain something for somebody else. And but still only lasted like a year and a half there because I wanted to get back out and do something, build something myself. And after that, freelanced for several years. You and I did some things together. Tried a few different things. And up till a couple of years ago when we said, hey, let's actually do something together intentionally and make a run at it. And so that's where I'm at today. So it's kind of fun. Those first 10 years were packed with a lot of stuff. The next 10 years were me freelancing, and here we are.
It's cool. The theme, you've always been around web development. You know,
through
the whole process.
Much.
Even if it's a product design, you're still so in tune with the website.
That's true.
Technology side. So you've always been, like you haven't really ever been away from that. All of this was still technology.
Still kind of all around that.
What was that early spark for you? Your love for technology, just online, like when computers came out?
Probably, because my parents, what was 1990? I think my parents got us our first computer. Was in 1990, and that's what started it for me. I think just the technology side of it was so fascinating. I remember the first day I messed it up. We messed up the computer. I had to take it back to Radio Shack to have her fix it for us, Debbie over at Radio Shack here in town. And that's what I would do. I would mess it up, and I would have to figure out how to fix it. That also, by the way, is a good way to get your own computer real quick, because my parents got frustrated with me messing up theirs all the time. So it didn't take long before I had my own that I was able to mess up. But the technology was so fascinating. And it's funny, you can tell.
How old would have you been?
I would have been 8.
Okay.
I think it might 1990 or 92, somewhere in there, 8 or 10 years old. But you can tell in the family albums, like before pre-computer, tan kid running around with no shirt on, and the pictures, family albums. After that, like pasty white kid, obviously been sitting in front of a computer instead of outside anymore. You know, you can
The
easily
moment
tell that
that'd just be
transition.
a great video. Like
Yes.
the moment I became a nerd. Here's
Yes,
the
exactly. It
evidence.
was right there. You can clearly see it. Yeah. But yeah, that was just it. It's the technology side was just so fascinating to me. And I kind of knew it was like, this is going to be something, you know?
Yeah.
And I was telling Vince Haynes the other day, if there's any solace of the whole data center thing not working, it's like, at least we can point to it now and go, hey, we were right.
Right.
We were
Yeah,
right. Cloud,
sure.
data center, all this.
Or that can make you feel worse. You know,
That's
it just
true. Hey,
depends
thank
on
you.
how you look at it, Tyler.
Not about it that way.
No, I get that. Though.
Yeah,
That
so that's at least there's
yeah.
something there. That's we were onto something, just did not execute it properly.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, what a tall order in
Oh
the
my
Midwest.
gosh, in the Midwest,
no
there's
connections.
No, yeah, it was
limited resources.
Yeah,
yeah. Kudos to you guys taking a swing at it, though.
yeah.
you know?
Thanks. It was a fun thing and learned a ton going through the process. Yeah.
I remember seeing the renderings and stuff.
Oh
of
yeah,
the
we still had Steven
data
working with
center
us, and yeah, we were doing it all right, man. Yep.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So then between all your little startups, so you did the DC thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously data center agency. You've been involved in some product startups that you've helped that we've worked on together.
Yeah.
Dueling Llamas.
Oh yeah. That was a fun
Designed
one.
that game for Stephanie Boswell.
Yeah.
Who created it. The box and again the website, and
Yeah.
you always fell on that side of like people have ideas, but then some people have to like draw out the idea, right?
Yes.
They have to illustrate the idea.
Yes. Yeah.
And what was the first time you realized you were good at illustrating ideas? It's design is the word, but I think
Right.
it's bigger than that because you're taking a concept or someone's verbally saying something and then you have to go make it because you're not like an art guy.
No,
That's
I'm
funny,
not. I can't
but-
draw anything on a piece of paper.
Right.
No, it's
But
fascinating.
yeah, where did the design thing start for you?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Probably in the late 90s. Yeah, messing around on computers,
So you're
doing
probably in high
websites. Like there were a
school.
couple people I did websites for as my little web design business I had in high school. I had a little brochure called Norris Web
really?
Design. I still got that brochure
That's funny.
somewhere. Yeah, I don't know what clicked in me, but I remember starting to play with the software in the 90s and was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And I just had a knack for it, I guess. My sister is a great artist. She can sit down and draw amazing things. And so where we got it from, neither of my parents can sit down and draw anything. I guess my mom's has an interior design eye, I guess. So maybe some of that came from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably in the late 90s is when it started to spark that there was something there.
Just like caring enough. Like I've built websites, but I'm if I'm building a website, I'm building it real fast. And settling really quickly.
Yeah.
You also have that like not OCD completely.
No,
but
it's
you've got a smidge of that.
There absolutely is.
It nicks you a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah, it does. Yeah,
but
yeah.
of like really caring. So that'd be interesting building in high school and gosh, late 90s.
Late 90s.
Building websites would be so weird.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so different.
Like how did you build a website in the late 90s in high school?
Yeah, there was software. I mean, you could just do it all by code, which you were still doing some of that, but Microsoft had a piece of software called Front Page. That was kind of one of the first, they called them WYSIWYG editors, which is still a thing today, that terminology. But you could actually kind of draw it out and also work with the code through this WYSIWYG editor and Front Page. And that's what initially got me into it. Yeah. And anybody who lived back in the 90s in this era remembers GeoCities and all of the websites that existed. I mean, it was like a website builder, essentially. Everybody and their dog had a GeoCities website. I'm sure that's probably where it started with a bunch of little animated GIFs and a counter down at the bottom of how many people visited. And, it's all it's just in its infancy. Yeah. Just all of the slop that existed. You're seeing the same thing with AI today. It's the internet went through that same slop era. Yeah. They got it to where it is today. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you've got Wix and there's just so many
it's so
builders
different.
now.
So different. Yep.
And it's changed back to your price point. That's a really interesting conversation that you build 16 grand for essentially they were the housing company. They were
it was a community
company.
It was just a community they wanted for yeah.
And now now people can get websites under 10 grand. Or DIY it with a graphic designer
Yep.
help, or
Yeah.
combination with freelancers. But it's interesting how that world, the price points have actually come down. There's not a lot of things that, and not for certain sectors, but most things I feel like inflate and get more expensive.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
It's more expensive to get your car repaired.
Yeah.
But the graphic world got diluted in a sense because of online brokers, freelance like Fiverr.
Oh my gosh,
that
completely
decimated
changed it several years ago.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
And it wasn't near the quality, but you and I have lots of conversations about that over
we
the
have.
years.
People just don't need that quality out of the gate. If
Yeah,
anybody
$5,000 logos are just, that's a different conversation.
Yeah,
they
completely.
still exist.
Oh, they do, and there's a place for them. But
yeah.
if you're just starting out, don't spend that kind of money. Just go to Fiverr. That will work for you for now. Yeah, that's what we tell people all the time. They come to us, and it's like, where are you at in the process? If you're not there yet, please don't spend that money with us. Invest that somewhere else.
Yeah, and especially depending on what you're in and what you're doing. But and then you've got the AI. A client I was talking to had the whole brand kit, everything generated by AI, looked pretty good.
Yeah,
still have to actually build the brand kit,
right? Yes,
format it. Like they kind of get stuck there.
Not for long. No,
probably.
Yeah,
I bet brand kits, logo kits are going to be auto generated, and
amazing.
I've seen some services doing that already.
Yeah, but it's pretty amazing the internet, what it did to reduce the cost for these things across the board. Just what it's done for a lot of things is pretty interesting.
Yeah, you can hire someone from anywhere around the world if it's a digital service.
Sure can.
You don't have to go local.
No, and those guys are still making great money.
They
for
are
the market that they're in.
Yeah, that global economy.
A lot of people don't realize that. They think you're just shortchanging these guys, and you're not. They're doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, there's minimum wage in the Philippines is $1 an hour, I think.
Yeah, something crazy.
And so anything over $1, they're doing well.
Yep, exactly.
Just to find work.
Yeah.
And proximity, not having to travel to work, being able to work from home.
You
can live in another country now, have a laptop, and make really good money.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of education now. I've seen some of the programs we've been through.
Yep.
There's a lot of attendees that are all over the world that broken English, but good for them.
Oh my gosh,
they're being an entrepreneur. They're figuring out how to take money from people.
Providing
and
provide good services in exchange for it. Yeah, that's something that didn't exist 30 years ago.
No,
that's
for sure.
Amazing.
So through the product development, you've been on the e-commerce side. So now you've been on the agency side, did the big startup idea, but actually went pretty far into it.
Yeah, we did.
And stayed in that agency model, went back to the freelance model, joined a couple different startups that, couldn't put food on the table, but gave them a shot,
Right. Yeah.
Started partnering. So you kind of started partnering with different entities via your skill sets and looking for partnership over just income.
Yes.
Stock.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
And I noticed that transition in you the last, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Like that's what you were looking for.
Yeah.
Is, hey, no, I could help you with this, but like I'd like to partner with this, especially in the startup side, because that's sweat equity is a great way to get on a deal at the beginning. So then fast forward, my memory of KillerGrowth starting, and I tell everybody this. I don't know if you remember how KillerGrowth, the first conversation that really started.
Maybe let's see if it lines up.
What I remember is it was you. Like the whole thing was you. Because you were doing freelance. I started freelancing for the first time.
Yeah.
And I had some clients on retainer.
Yeah,
And I
that's
was
right.
doing some consulting and media buying.
Yep.
And you and I were just talking, and we were in the middle of these other deals. And I just remember you going, hey, I'm tired of this freelance thing. And he's like, if you would want to do an agency, like if you'd want to build an agency, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like I'm in. I like the customer side of it. And I'd been in the service industry building the turnkey stuff.
Yes.
And so that kind of lined up. And that's kind of what my vision was for it. And you're like, yep, that's what I want. I want to have an actual team. I want to build a business.
Yeah, exactly.
That can function without me.
Yes.
And then still work on the business. But that was like, to me, the genesis of KillerGrowth was you basically saying like, hey,
I do remember that vaguely.
Yeah. If you, and then fast forward, lots of conversations, and that was on Phil's podcast. Then it all worked out great. I brought clients over, you brought clients over, Phil brought clients over. So it was kind of like 3 freelance guys.
Yeah,
decided
exactly.
to build an industry, which is a little bit different than your other agency models, which is interesting. You kind of just jump straight into the agency.
Right. Yes.
And then started to
Yes.
where we kind of all came from 3 really unique backgrounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of doing our own thing to
Yep.
then build a system.
Yep, exactly, which is nice. There was a level of maturity there that I had
Right.
not gotten to
you were-
experience in the past before with other partners. Yeah, and I loved, my first business partner. I love my other business partners. They were all great, and I honestly never thought that I would probably try another agency again.
Yeah.
but
You
know,
said
after
that all the
I know
time.
I did, but after you freelance for a while, you know the deal. When you're covering the whole gamut of things.
Yeah.
It's hard to go sell something when you know you're going to have to also perform all of the work afterwards, and you're the whole deal. And so, when you said that, I do remember that. When you said that, you love the customer side of it. You're really good at the sales side, talking with, I was like, there could be a cool partnership here. And then Phil obviously brought a lot to the table on his side
It was
too.
a perfect fit.
It was
that
great,
timing
yeah.
all within 30 days was crazy.
It was crazy because Phil, I remember, came into town. We talked with him a little bit, and he left, and we both went, I think we need him.
You said that
on the
though.
team.
That
Yeah,
was
was
what
it me?
you,
All me.
that was
Yeah.
you too. You're like, we need to partner with Phil.
Yeah.
Like you just looked at me and I'm like, I think you're right.
That's he's the missing piece. Yeah.
But it is cool because I think, the big benefit I think all 3 of us benefit each other a lot. And now we have Tyler Brickley. So now we kind of have this quad
Yes.
4-part leadership
Yep.
that's really powerful.
Yes, it is.
And I'm very thankful for, but you're 20 some years of experience taking it into the agency model and building an agency like a business, not just a freelance. And that's the hardest part to break out of in digital marketing is to break out of the freelance mindset. Another part I really appreciated about you that really sold me on the agency idea. Because I said I would never do it for years.
Yeah.
So everybody says they'll do a restaurant or that they won't or whatever. Well, I also said I would never do that unless I own the company.
Yeah.
I won't do the digital marketing. Well, then I took on a few clients and just had a blast. And I remember telling you, I just want to be essentially like an extension of these businesses. Like I don't want to do a traditional agency. I want to somehow build something that we become an integrated part of their team.
Yes, exactly.
We become their fractional CMO.
Yes.
Like a business partner.
Exactly. Like a business partner.
And that was the part I remember you got real excited. You're like, if you want to do that, like I'm in.
Yeah, because that was always the missing element for me. It's just you touch and go with these clients. You do a project and then you're gone again, and you may or may not come back and circle around to them. But that's the fun part. That's why from day one I've always had business partners, because it's just more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Because it's the machine, right? It's like all the parts that make the machine run.
Yeah.
Because nobody can be everything.
No.
And so when you get all the pieces in alignment and you hear that engine purring,
it is so much fun that way.
It is.
Yeah. And being able to do that with our clients, that's what's a lot of fun. Actually, you feel like you're a business partner with them to help them grow.
And we still have all the same pain points any other agency has. We've had clients fall off. We've messed up. We've had clients go really well and partnerships go bad already. And that's just
that's the nature of the business.
Right. Yeah. Anybody in service, you're just not for everybody.
No.
We're figuring that part out. And that's probably the hardest part for you and I think, is that we just, because you never did high volume agency. Phil did. I'd never done the agency model, been around this stuff obviously a long time, but never done that model.
Yeah.
But the churn sucks. Like, especially when you feel like you didn't achieve what you were hoping to achieve for a client.
Yes.
And I know that will always stay at our core.
Yeah.
And I know that's at your core. So it's, that's the part about this business that is and that's challenging, but it's also the, as long as you, and I think that's what's going to happen. And I'm thankful for you in that, is that I know you have that conviction that will always be at our core.
Yes.
And you're going to, as our COO and strategy guy, CTO, be technology as CSO. You're really all 3 of those. But if we build something, you think about how it feels on the client side so deeply, and you care about that so much.
Yes.
So whenever we're building and now you're actually getting to build and work on a business, you're still doing web stuff and get pulled in, and now we have Brickley. But talk about that. What's it like to actually work on, like, you have a business, it's running, it's making money, you have employees now.
Yeah.
You have a team.
Yeah.
You have partners, and you're in a position where you get to spend a chunk of your time just working on the business,
about the business itself. Yeah, I love that part. You're right, because from early on with PH Design House, the slogan, or what do you want to call it, for us was the difference is quality. And that's kind of always been my MO for a long, long time. And I think I just grew up with that. My parents just instilled that in me to do a quality job over quantity. And being able to focus on the business, I feel like I get to do that more in that respect, because we've talked about that some. Marketing is an interesting thing. I thought about this the other day, and I said it to you and it resonated. Marketing has always been a quantity over quality game to an extent. And it's really become that over the past few years because you have to. There's so much output out there. In order to get noticed, you have to also have a lot of output. And quantity is going to get affected in the midst of that. But if you can take quantity and get the customer to a quality experience, then you still get to have both, I think, in the midst of that. And so instead of me having my hands on quantity things all the time, which I still do touch and still do try to put quality into those things, being able to focus more on the business overall lets me think about that whole process of how our customers, our clients are interacting with us and that whole experience, and how even us as a team on a project management side, all of that, how we're interacting and working together and providing a quality experience for our clients at the end of the day. So yeah, I love that. Love that part.
Yeah. And I think the quality of the business unit, that's perfect. You get to focus on the business unit, the delivery methods, the communication methods. I mean, you've built out our project management system and multiple back end things and support all the team on that, you know, and that's a part that's been really fun. Especially since Brickley came on board, our weekly meeting with leadership that you run for all of us. And that's been really unique for me because I'm kind of on the back seat on a lot of things, you know, like at KillerGrowth, like
which is fun for you. That's different for you, right? Yeah.
It's awesome. And there's so much talent here and like within our group. And sorry, this is turning into a sales pitch. This is about you. This doesn't mean to be a sales pitch.
This is fun.
But it's where you're at now, and it's a lot of what you're building. But I think anybody, if you see KillerGrowth stuff, you see output, you see the quality of this podcast. That's Tyler. Like, so I just that's where you're at, and where you're at your best is when you are focused on quality and systems. And so we get so many compliments on the quality of this podcast.
We do. It's awesome, man.
Thanks to Tyler, and then Brickley jumped into and helped
put
you.
polishing touches on it. Oh my gosh,
But the production level, everything. If you're touching it, it's going to be really good. And what a great skill set to be in a position to work on a business and building systems and operations. And I remember that conversation with you because you were more in the weeds of just website stuff. And it was just like, you need to be working on stuff for us.
Yes, exactly.
You need to be taking as much away from me to make it a better system as possible. And then I don't touch it till you make the system. Right. And that's kind of been our, and partnership wise, it's been good and hard. We've learned how our communication is different on that. Hard for you to take something from me, and hard for me to remember to tell you I want you to take it.
Exactly. Yes.
The common theme.
Yeah, you're right.
Because pride gets in the way. So talk about the moving into now. Your focus is KillerGrowth. And then Voice Grid.
Voice Grid.
So and then we have another outbound system that Brickley's been leading the charge on, and you've been assisting on.
Been doing a great job on that.
So now, like, moving forward, what's the, like, you're zoned in on this. What does this look like for you? Are you glad you're just in the digital space from the software side to the agency service side? What does that look like for you next?
Definitely glad I'm there. You know, we've done the physical product stuff in the past, and we've both kind of written that off now. Don't want to do physical products. That's just a hard thing to do. And so the digital side.
Until the right idea. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, man, don't say that. It's true.
So we love physical products and e-commerce.
Oh, yeah. The right idea could walk through the door, and we would still both probably get hooked and try to do it.
And it's hard when you know how to take something all the way. It's
I know. It's like,
and we've done it a few times.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
What Tyler's referring to is that we've made a promise to each other that we will not go into any other ventures or startup ideas that aren't digital products.
Because we have ADD when it comes to startups. It's just we love them.
So that's our handshake deal. So
It is,
back to what
yeah.
we're focused on,
Right.
which is building digital products to help businesses.
Yes.
And digital services to help people grow.
Yes.
Right. It's pretty simplified.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Solve problems, help people grow.
Yep. Yeah.
But on that side going forward, talk about because you've never been in SaaS. I guess that database was
Data center would have kind of been, the start of something like
so
that.
talk about VoiceGrid and that experience so far. I mean, you've been a part of that for, gosh, what is it, a year and a half now?
Probably since we started that up.
building
Yeah.
your first SaaS product.
Really, it has
with the
been.
team.
Yeah. And that's been a lot
Software
of fun.
as a service.
Yes,
Sorry.
there we go. Yep. Yeah, that's been a fun experience too. And it's been fun watching that one evolve over time because we had one idea of what it was going to be when it started, and it's kind of evolved into a completely different thing of what it is today, narrowing in on a niche for these service businesses or for specifically these appliance repair businesses that we're trying to narrow in. So it just feels it's still that startup process. You know, there's not been that one thing that's clicked where we've been like, oh, here it is. We're about to take off and run. It's still been a grind and a hard process to figure out how to get there. But I wouldn't trade that for anything. I don't think. That process, as frustrating as it can be at times, it really can be. It's a hard process. I don't think I would trade it. I really enjoy doing that. I've had opportunities at other 9-to-5 jobs to go do, and just don't want to pursue that side of it. I want to build something. You don't want that glass ceiling in our way. And it's not from a money perspective, like I want as much money as we can make. It's from a perspective of the sky's the limit for what you're building, for what you can create.
And the fulfillment of building something.
That you get from that. Yeah. And we get to do that with our clients too. With both the VoiceGrid, sorry, I'm going off the rails on your question, I think, but both VoiceGrid side, we've gotten that to be able to do that. But on the KillerGrowth side, we get to do that with our clients and help them do that, strategize about ways to make their businesses better and to help them grow because they're in that same position. They don't have that ceiling either. If they can figure out the right strategy and unlock the right thing, whatever the thing is, there's not a silver bullet, but boy, there's a couple different things that they could probably do that would help them grow. That's cool if we can figure that out for them. What a deal.
You won't find the silver bullet till you empty the magazine. I feel like there should be an analogy.
Wow, is there an analogy there somewhere? Yeah, okay. I thought maybe you had some profound thing you're about to unload on us.
I feel like I should. I'm just sitting here trying to think of one. Nothing's coming to me.
No, there's no silver bullet. There isn't in anything, I don't think. But it's fun to try to help them unlock those couple different things that could help them grow. And that's...
And they are, the business itself, right? We've realized the business itself is usually why they're successful. Like the business owner and the team.
Yeah.
The services, the quality of services they provide. Yeah. That's what's going to really set them up. And then we exist to exemplify that, hold them accountable, help them improve on things they could do internally and the things we can do. Yeah. Outsource to help them be more visible. Yeah. Ultimately, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What is it?
Communicate better.
Marcus Lemonis says product, people, and process are the three key pieces to that, and identifying what's right and what's not quite right with those processes is a lot of fun to do. That's the strategy side that both you and I love sinking our teeth into.
Yep. And I just think it's interesting as many startups and things we've both been a part of over the last 20 years that we've kind of arrived to the same destination of not just consulting. We're also marketing, but essentially being a strategy partner for other businesses.
Exactly.
And providing services while creating an atmosphere to build digital products to solve problems for people. But so talk about now in your world. Let's talk about AI a little bit. AI has obviously changed design, graphics, website building,
in a short
video,
amount of time. Yes,
all of that. But what's that gonna look like? I mean, what does it look like today that it didn't look like just 2 years ago? Let's do that. In your opinion.
Oh yeah. The content and coding side have been the most profound for me, probably. If you wanted to write a little, like on our KillerGrowth webpage, down at the bottom of it, it has these little falling knives.
Oh, yeah.
In the background.
The graphic.
I would have had to written that myself at one point. I don't know. I'm good enough to be dangerous writing code of any sort, really. Yeah. But with AI, I was able to, I think that was the first time I used Claude Code, I think, was to write that little JavaScript that made those knives fall in a matter of minutes. Yeah. It's wild. And that did not exist. And on the content side, content used to be the hardest part when working with clients, because clients are just as stumped as everybody else is on wanting to write content for things. And ChatGPT has revolutionized that. And I get it. You can say, oh, it's just AI written content. Okay. But again, if we're talking quantity to get you to the quality product, service, person, whatever it is, then I don't think that's a bad thing. We're using AI to help us craft content that's SEO rich that can lead those customers to our clients.
Yeah.
So I think that's an okay thing. And before AI, you had to hire a content writer. You had to, I would usually put it on the client themselves. Say, here's the outline. Give me your content. And 6 months later, you might have half of the, it would just drag on and on and on. Yeah. And I totally get it from the client side. That's not a fun thing to do either. They're busy. It's hard to write out what you do. That's just a difficult task to do for anybody. And so AI has just transformed both of those things in a short amount of time. Another one would probably be stock images. How fast you can generate stock images now. They're not stock images anymore. You can just generate images with AI, whereas before you had to go out and find the stock image. You had to license it. And that's refined a lot just even in the past 6 months. You go back a year or so ago when we started, year and a half ago when we started messing with AI, it wasn't very good, the images that it would create.
Well, when did you make the Shaw's Pest Control website?
That was one of our early ones.
And those images still turned out, you have a bunch of AI generated.
It's true in there. That's right. And those came out pretty well.
Came out pretty well.
Yeah, those took a little bit of work to get those. That's true. Yeah. And that was ChatGPT, I think, working with those. And that took a little bit of work to get those refined. Less work these days. But yeah, you're right. I'd forgotten about those images.
That was kind of the first time I remember you showing me an image that went on a website, and you're like, "Yeah, this is just AI generated." But no, we didn't have to buy any stock images.
No, and you want, because on a website or anything, you want your images to look consistent. Yeah, and that was what was always difficult, especially with licensing images, is to try to find, because those, I think they were like bug icons, right? Or kind of symbols for bugs.
They were all like the different types of bugs.
Exactly. Yeah, that he deals with. And you didn't want, if you go stock, it's hard to find like a series of 10 that all look the same. But with AI, you can just tell it that you want it to do that, and you can get to look all the same just with your prompting. It's wild how much it's changed things. And now using different software to build the websites using AI now quickly. Yeah. It's a wild thing. The AI slop, I've thought about this a lot. I hate that phrase, AI slop, because everybody acts like that just dismisses it all, right? It's just all a mess. Forget about AI. It's just a bunch of slop. But again, that's how iterations with humans work. It's a funnel, right? It starts as slop at the top, and it narrows its way down through iteration and innovation and working on it to something that's refined. That was the internet. Back in the 90s, it literally everybody had a stupid GeoCities website, and it was a bunch of slop back in the 90s. Nobody needed all that, but it was just refining itself down to what it is today. And there's still a lot of slop with the internet. I get that. But wow, it is a part of our lives, period. And in the same respect to the whole bubble talk, there might be an AI bubble there, but there was also one with the internet.
That's the investors' problem.
Right, it is.
Not the user's problem.
No, and the internet, people's memories are so short. The internet had a bubble too, and then after that popped, that was the last we ever heard of the internet. No, it refined itself. Fair. I wish I would have bought Microsoft in the 90s or Apple. My gosh, everybody's acting like, oh gosh, don't touch any of these AI stocks right now. I get it. And there may be a bubble that occurs, but it's going to refine itself and going to come out on the backside stronger than ever, just like the internet did. Probably multitudes stronger on the backside of it. This is becoming something we're using every day as an agency. Every day we use AI. Every day. I think the only reason why it's not in people's lives outside of this, and it is in a lot of people's lives outside of this. It's crazy. Just intimidating, and they don't really know how to get into it. But it's once you show somebody how to interact with something as simple as ChatGPT, it's almost life-changing for them just to see in their mind, they click, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can just ask it these things, and it produces this, and it'll do this and this. And once it becomes brain. It is a second brain. Yeah. Once more people step into that, the adoption rate is just going to continue to go nuts, I think.
One thing you guys are working on is you and Brickley, a website solution that's highly customizable, but affordable.
Yes.
Talk about the biggest issue you just see in websites besides them not having one. That's a big one.
Oh yeah. Not having one, or it's just terrible.
Because they tend to leave it. They'll pay someone builds it, and then
oh yeah, we'll never
happens.
touch it again after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And so they're usually terrible. They're built on a bad platform, which we've all done that in the past, or a slow platform. They're not SEO optimized. You're right. They don't have blog posts on them, so the content's not continually being updated, which is bad for SEO on that side of things. A lot of different things. And in the past, even recently, I mean, to do a website, we were still manually doing WordPress websites. We would go find a theme, obviously, that looked nice that we would then customize, but we'd still have to build out that whole website, which is a long process to do. But now through the use of these other AI tools that we're finding, you still need to understand how to prompt it. You can't just type in, build me a great website, period. It's going to look terrible. You've got to understand how to prompt it, how to ask it the right things, which is why I think positions like ours will always exist, because there's always going to be that middleman who understands.
Our positions will just be prompt engineers.
Right. I think that's what it's going to be. Yeah. You got to understand. And the guy running his pest control company doesn't want to stop and figure that out. He's going to want to hire somebody.
And you still need to have some basic understanding of how it should be formatted.
How it should be. Yeah, exactly.
Visually, the experience, the UI side.
Yeah, all the experience that we bring from all these years that we can use to build out those prompts. But it's pretty amazing. We're building landing pages now, right? With AI for clients, and we've got a great employee who's just jumped into that, and she's immediately picking it up and building these great landing pages with just a little bit of coaching from Tyler Brickley. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. And I think the real estate analogy, we talked about that. The website's like it's a piece of property. It's your digital property, your digital place of business. Yeah. And if you have a physical property, you have to paint sometimes. And you have to fix leaks in the roof, and there's ongoing maintenance, and that's the same thing with websites. It's just keeping them refreshed.
Yes.
Literally just updating the copyright thing on the bottom of the page.
My gosh,
how many websites you see that? Like it's 8 years ago.
Oh yeah, copyright 2019. It's like, where have you been?
But yeah, you and Brickley are working on a solution that is just constantly updated, taken care of. Like it's like a maintenance program, if you will, but it's also a brand new build that's pretty amazing.
Exactly. It really is. Where
it's going.
And you're exactly right. We're able to funnel our experience and our background of knowing what it needs to be into these prompts to build these sites. And
if you have that combination with the people that do your media buying, the people that do your SEO, and they also maintain your website, make sure your website can convert, capture information properly, offer quoting solutions, just that custom app development. Do you think, what do you think agencies like us will look like in 10 years?
Boy, that's a great question.
We can go not that far. We go like 5 years.
Even 5 years. That's still in this world, day and age. It's going to be, it's
going to be like next week. Too close.
What's next week going to be
5 years is the short
5 years is the short time. Yeah. There will always, I think, there will be, who's a BBD&O, is a huge marketing agent. There are these names that have been around for decades that will always exist serving multi-million-dollar clients. I don't think that will ever change. Apple isn't going to utilize AI to rebuild their website anytime soon, probably ever. They're always going to have an agency that's not going to utilize AI to build a Super Bowl commercial for them. That's not going to exist. So that's not going to happen. So the bigger companies will always be there to serve those large clients. But for agencies of our size, I think you're right. I think we've got the experience and the know-how to bring the right pieces together to make all this work, because it's across multiple channels. You can't just have a website anymore. Right. It's social media, it's media buying. You've got to have all these channels, and they've got to be working in concert together. And business owners don't have time to deal with that. Right. No matter how much AI you interject into it, I don't think they have. Maybe 20, 30 years down the road, maybe that's a different story.
AI can tell them how to do it.
Right, but they still have to
fully, but
execute it and implement it. Right, and maybe that'll be different someday, but even then, I don't think that business owners want to deal with that. Just like a business owner, like a Good to Be Clean, right? Nick probably doesn't change his own oil in his truck, probably. I mean, Nick might. He's a pretty unique guy. He might. Tough, dude. But changing your oil in a vehicle is not that difficult, but business owners aren't doing that on their vehicles. They're still taking it to a mechanic to do it. Think of the same kind of a thing. You could make the argument someday that it's not that difficult to maintain all of these channels, but it still just makes more sense for the business owner to hire somebody like us to help them do that, because we know how to do it and we've got the experience on how to make it all work in concert well together. Yep. So I think we'll still exist. I think agencies will still exist. our jobs are safe. That's
For now.
for now.
He did not answer the 10-year question.
No, yeah. But man, all these others, it's going to touch so many different industries, and they're all going to change, and some are going to go away, I think, or drastically change.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
It's good stuff. So let's end with this. Legacy and learning. What are you most proud of over the last 20 some years? And then what's your hope to pass on in the next 20 years to community and businesses? And
yeah, that's tough.
It's a deep one.
It is a deep one. Yeah, I'm probably most proud of, I guess, just sticking with it. I suppose. Yeah, this is a hard journey, and that's, I mean, just about everybody we've had on, if we haven't point blank asked them that question, they would have told us, yeah, it's hard. This is difficult to do. I probably just, proud's not the right word. I don't like proud stuff, but glad that I have stuck with it. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do anything differently. And again, then I think that rolls into legacy of, I think we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll make something work, I think. And we are making something work right now, but even with things like VoiceGrid or another SaaS that comes down the road, I think we'll eventually figure it out. Product-based. Yeah, I think we'll eventually make it work. But, man, even if we don't, I just want my kids to be able to grow up seeing that we just kept pushing, kept trying, felt like this is what the Lord has built me to do, and haven't deviated from that. There's been times I've definitely wanted to, times you don't want to keep doing this thing, but ultimately, I think this is what I was built to do. I think this is what you were built to do, and I want my kids to be able to see that, you pursue what you feel like God's put in your heart to pursue, put your hands to. I think that's probably the legacy side of it. Yeah.
And the thing he's talking about that's really hard, ladies and gentlemen, is entrepreneurship.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Gosh, that's almost a bad word, isn't it?
It is. It's a scary word. We try not to say the E word around here.
Don't say the E word.
Yeah. We're just running a business. Keep it simple, We just sell something people want.
Exactly.
Knock on the door all the time.
Don't worry about it. Yep. Oh, man.
Well, appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Yeah, I didn't do my
I know you did. Yeah,
I was gonna save that till the end. But thank you for the time.
Absolutely.
Awesome story. I know so many people are gonna love to hear.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Man, an hour went by so fast. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
This is
I know.
wild.
I'm looking at the time. I'm like, oh, we hit.
This is great. I told you before, and I was like, you and I both hate talking about ourselves.
Oh,
this is not going to be fun.
But this was
format.
Good.
This is good.
Format.
This is the right format. Yeah.
No.
Love
okay.
It, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.